up? Thank you so much for plugging in with us today. This is Gabriella, and today I am so excited to introduce Jessica, who is going to be talking to us a little bit about something that's been really heavy on her heart, and that is empathy. Take it away, Jess.
So, y'all, I just kind of feel like yesterday God was talking to me as I was like trying to pull this recording together. I was like, God, what do you want me to say? It's how these little kids out here in these streets. What is something that it had to. Because what is it? Just something that you want everybody to know. And he was like, okay, well, why don't you talk about something that's going on in the world? I was like, I was kind of like, everybody kind of know, everybody kind of know what's going on, I don't want to be the one that's like retelling the stories that we already told. It's like it's already out in the streets. And he was like, no, but let's try to look at it from a different perspective. I said, what? Okay. And the word empathy has kind of been going back and forth in my head for probably about 3 or 4 times this week, like randomly. But I didn't think that I would be talking about it until today. So, boom. God literally told me yesterday. God told me to tell y'all that literally to solve racism is in empathy. Okay, I know. It's crazy because you think like, oh, that's such a like obvious thing, but like it's really not. It's kind of a hard thing to tackle because if you were to ask somebody, okay, what's the biggest problem in our world today? Of course, somebody would tell you racism. Racism is a very big and bad spirit. So to try to tackle it in like a whole is something that only God can do. That's not something that's within our jurisdiction. But at the same time, if we want to try to understand to tackle and to defeat the spirit of racism, we have to get into what makes racism and what makes America with the 3 Ks, what makes that. And the things, this is what God told me to tell y'all. Like, don't get mad at me. I'm just the mic. But God was literally telling me that pride, selfishness, and greed is the water and the sun that makes the seed of racism grow into a huge tree and that spirit kind of covers us all. And y'all, I know. It sounds a little crazy, but it's the truth. And he told me the reason. Oh, I'm finna step in your house. He told me the reason that we're dealing with this, the reason why it's very developed in America, is because that's what America was founded on: pride, selfishness, and greed. I said, well, God, how would that just come out the bat like that? Like, I know we were all born sinners, but I mean, at least for me, I was trained to be very nice, very proper. Don't touch nothing that's not yours, and don't go nowhere you're not invited. Like things like that's how I was trained. So I don't think even though I have these traits, I didn't think it was really that big. And that's when God told me. Sorry, y'all, because I can feel his spirit right now. I can feel it right now. And that's when God told me the reason that we're dealing with all of this nonsense is because America was founded on a broken heart. I said, God, wow. What are you talking about, G? What are you talking about, G? He said, when the people came over here, right? When the Mayflower came over here, right? They were leaving because they didn't get the rights that they wanted to over. And where were they at? London? Britain? Where was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was over there. And it was just a simple fact of they were continuing to fight. And, the king was telling them okay, we're going to do everything that you want to do, but it's going to be under me. It's going to be under my jurisdiction. It's going to be this is what it's about. And they were like, but no, why can't I just live my life the way I want to live it? And there in that country, their hearts were broken. And that's when that insecurity started to build up. And that's that pride that we have. That's oh, you know what? Since you don't want to take care of me and you don't want to, respect me and who I am and what I believe in my religious purposes, I'm going to go somewhere else. Somewhere else where I don't have to worry about you and I don't got to think about you and I can believe whatever I want to believe and it sure ain't going to be with you. And that pride and that greed and that selfishness, like, grew on them. Their shoulders literally grew up. Like, y'all know that chef from Ratatouille? You know the one with the pointy nose, the critic? What's his name? What's his
I
I don't know.
forgot.
Oh God, I know people are gonna be yelling at me through the podcast. Like,
I
okay, look, that critic, that is how they came over to America with like the insecurities of like, oh, they don't want me, they don't care about me, they don't love me, they don't love me, right? And when they came over and the natives were like, hey, yo, what you doing? And they were like, oh, you know what, this is our land now. Like, we don't need anybody, and started killing people. That wasn't because, oh, here we go, it wasn't because of skin color. Skin color was just what they used to identify us. It was because of the broken heart and the lack of empathy, the lack of care. Like, they didn't even want to try and this is a whitewash history lesson I'm about to tell y'all. How they, oh, Anton Ego, that's what it was. Thank you. They didn't want to try to hear the natives out. Like, you know how people say like, oh, the natives were teaching the Americans like their ways of living, and like it was all one big happy family, and it was all beautiful, and everything was happy and sunflowers, and they had the turkey, and it was That's not how it went. They was like, this is our land, and you are gonna be enslaved, and you're gonna teach us how to do this because we were heartbroken over there, and we are not gonna be stepped over like a bug again. We are not gonna be the rug of this country again. We're not doing it. And that is where the seed of racism grew. So when they started bringing other people here, it honestly, it was a powerful move. You know what I'm saying? And that seed of ignorance is stupid. Well, no, it is stupidity, but it just came from a broken heart, and these people are brokenhearted. But the thing with the broken heart is that it grew from generation to generation to generation to where people are just like, oh, I don't like you because you're black. And it's like, no, you're not mad at me. You're mad at Britain or wherever the fuck you came from, right? Because they didn't treat you how you want to be treated. So now you're taking that seed that they taught you, that seed of hate and that seed of disrespect and that lack of empathy, and you brought it over to African Americans. You brought it over to black people. You brought it over to natives. You brought it over to Asians. You brought it over to Latinx countries. And we didn't even ask for that. And it's the lack of empathy. That selfishness grew as technology grew. And more importantly, as money grew. Uh-oh, I'm in your house today. Look. Because when money started to grow, everybody's like, it's mine. Because what? That's where the country was founded from. So once everybody started putting money in their pockets, everybody else who didn't have money because the system wouldn't allow them to have money, correct? That's when everybody was kind of like, oh, I'm not going to take care. You ain't got no money in your pocket, so that's not none of my business. You see somebody on the street that need money, it's like, maybe you should have got a job. You should have raised yourself up. You should have do. Not knowing that the system wouldn't allow them to do that because of the low-income neighborhoods they raised them, the lack of resources they gave them to get the education they needed to get jobs in the first place. Wow. Oh, I'm in your house today. Empathy died when money grew. And from there, it's just like, that's not a part of it, but it is a part of it, I will say. That's where a part of racism grew from, was the fact that then people did not have money because we did not have money. We had a lack of resources. And my mom, literally, who came from Africa, had to fight her way to the top, claw her way to the top. Because our system isn't built to where if she were to come here, she could get it right off the bat. You have to claw your way up. Mm-hmm. And I don't say, work your way up. I say claw, because that's really what it is. You have to slave yourself over to get what you need in life. Rather, if we had empathy and love in our hearts and we were actually taking care of each other, I can 100% bet you. God can 100% bet you. Homelessness will not be a thing. Like starvation, not a thing. Like all of these like bad seeds that have grown from the roots of racism would not be a thing. From the roots of capitalism would not be a thing. But it's the fact that nobody wants to take care of each other. But it's honestly, like I said in Nicole's podcast, it's not because of like it's her fault, it's his fault. It's not about the pointing fingers. It's about what we allowed other people to do to us. And now I know everybody's kind of like, okay, you're saying all of this stuff, but where's your Bible? Where's your Bible? Where's your Bible? Okay, well, hold up. Let me pull it up. If everybody could go to Proverbs 16.
Where's your Bible?
Where's your Bible? Everybody be like, oh, you saying this, but you ain't whatever. Okay, but look, I'm gonna be reading from the Amplified version. Yes, because I didn't even know about the Amplified version until Nicole brought it up. I was like, Amplified? I only knew about King James and New Revised Standard. So, I was kind of like, let me just try to read this one. And I kind of liked how the words were put, how the words were broken down. So if everybody is at Proverbs 16, I will literally give y'all the tea that God gave me. So the title of Proverbs 16 was the contrast to the upright and wicked. Does anybody want to read, or should I? Does anybody feel their hearts feel led to read?
I don't have the Amplified version.
I can read.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Nicole can read. She said, I can read. Go ahead, girl. I'll read the whole chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. But look, they need to hear it. So.
Okay. Proverbs 16. Contrast the upright and the wicked. The plans and reflections of the heart belong to man, but the wise answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Mm-hmm. All the ways of a man are clean and innocent in his own eyes, and he may see nothing wrong with his actions. But the Lord weighs and examines the motives and intents of the heart and knows the truth. Commit your works, to the Lord. Submit and trust them to you, and your plans will succeed if you respond to his will and guidance. The Lord has made everything for its own purpose, even the wicked according to their role for the day of evil. Everyone who is proud and arrogant in heart is disgusting and exceedingly offensive to the Lord.
Bloop.
Be assured, he will not go unpunished. By mercy and loving kindness and truth, not superficial ritual wickedness. I'm sorry. I'm going to read that again. That's verse 6. By mercy and loving kindness and truth, not superficial ritual. Wickedness is cleansed from the heart. And by the fear of the Lord, one avoids evil. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Better is a little with righteousness than great income gained with injustice. Oh, a man's mind plans his way as he journeys through life, but the Lord directs his steps and establishes them. A divine decision given by God is on the lips of the king as his representative. His mouth should not be unfaithful or unjust in judgment. A just balance and honest scales are the Lord's. All the weights of the bag are his concern, established by his eternal principles. It is repulsive to God and man for kings to behave wickedly, for a throne is established on righteousness, right standing with God. Verse 13, righteous lips are the delight of kings, and he who speaks right is loved. The wrath of a king is like a messenger of death, but a wise man will appease it. In the light of the king's face is life, and his favor is like a cloud bringing the spring rain. How much better it is to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding is to be chosen above silver. The highway of the upright turns away and departs from evil. He who guards his pockets, his life, soul. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It is better to be humble in spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud, arrogant. He who pays attention to the word of God will find good and blessed, happy, prosperous, to be admired is he who trusts confidently in the Lord. The wise in heart will be called understanding. Sweet speech increases pervasiveness and learning in both speaker and listener. Wow. Understanding spiritual. I'm sorry. Understanding. I'm going to read that again. I'm sorry. Verse 21 says, the wise in heart will be called understanding. And sweet speech increases persuasiveness, and learning in both the speaker and the listener. Verse 22, understanding spiritual insight is a refreshing and boundless wellspring of life to those who have it. But to give instruction and correction to fools is foolishness. The heart of the wise instructs his mouth in wisdom and adds persuasiveness to his lips. Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweet and delightful to the soul and healing to the body. There is a way which seems right to a man and appears straight before him, but its end is the way of death. The appetite of a worker works for him, for his hunger urges him on. A worthless man devises and digs up evil, and the words on his lips are like a scorching fire. A perverse man spreads strife, and one who gossips separates intimate friends. A violent and exceedingly covetous man entices his neighbor to sin and leads him in a way that is not good. He who is slyly winks his eyes does so to plot perverse things. And he who compresses his lips as if in a secret signal brings evil to pass. The silver-haired head is a crown of splendor and glory. It is found in the way of righteousness. He who is slow to anger is better and more honorable than the mighty soldier, and he who rules and controls his own spirit than he who captures a city. The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. Can I read the annotation? Because
Yes, please.
okay, so the verse 33, it says the lot is cast into the lap. And basically what it's saying is, this is the reason why the casting of lots was sanctioned in Israel for certain cases of decision making. It was understood that the outcomes were controlled by God, and the seemingly random procedure eliminated human influence. The last time the ritual is mentioned in the Bible is in the choice of Matthias to replace Judas in Acts 1:26. Many believe that the filling of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost in Acts 2 officially put an end to the ritual because it was then replaced by the direct guidance of the Spirit. It was never sanctioned or recommended as a way to determine God's will in personal decision-making.
Ooh, that was so much impact. When I tell you I read this last night and I was shaking in my Dora boots, like it literally made no sense. But
Dora.
I was like, whoa. It was just a lot to unpack. But let's really take a look at verse 18, because verse 18 was the first verse that I highlighted before highlighting the entire chapter. Verse 18 goes, pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Pride always goes before the fall. Y'all love to quote the Bible, but y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know the context. And I know what everybody's saying. Everybody's like, okay, well, I feel like, it doesn't take like so much to not be racist. And I'm like, it really does not. But it's the simple fact that, we're not dealing with racism. Racism is just how they identify us. We're dealing with a broken heart, a lack of empathy. The seeds in between that, pride, selfishness, and greed. These are the things we're dealing with. Racism is only how they identify us. Because I promise you, and I had a really good friend tell me this, in history, the way racism, quote unquote, started wasn't even because of the color of skin. Even before America, the people of America came over here, it was really about culture. There was a divide between religious beliefs. And I don't mean that like around like the 1800s or whatever. I mean that even earlier. I mean that like in the 1600s, there was a divide of culture. That's where certain denominations come from. Like some people believed in Baptist denomination, some people believe in Presbyterian, whatever. And that kind of spread us out. But I'm really trying to tell y'all, if we can really just like come together, y'all don't even understand the power we can have if we all healed together. And I think that's our problem. We never healed from our broken heart. So we kind of carry this like really big, heavy spirit on our shoulders every single day. And we're not even focusing on the fact that it's not about this. It's not about your skin. It's your broken heart that never healed. It's because nobody ever allowed you to be what you were called to be. Oh, I'm in your house. But I know everybody's kind of like, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's all history. You speak on all history. Okay, let me get it to you then. I was just about to get to you anyway. Because we could talk about why your relationships haven't been working. but you don't want to talk about that. But no, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. It's your lack of empathy that has been causing the issues in your relationships. Because when this is what culture has been doing to us in our minds. You've been selfish. Yeah. We've been selfish. Because when we're looking for people, we're looking for certain people, you feel a little lonely. You feel like, oh, God isn't giving me everything He said He was going to give me. I feel a little lonely. When you're looking for people, you're not looking for how you can help them. You're looking for what can they do for me? What money can they put in my pocket?
Wow.
What connections can they give to me?
Why are you in my house?
God said, let him have it. I said, but it's honestly like the problem with this whole like, oh, y'all gonna hit me for this one, but look, it's not me, it's God. God told me to tell y'all. But it's this whole hookup culture that has infested relationships now.
Yes.
It's just the fact that we're so selfish. We're like we haven't really had a chance to heal from like past experiences, so we take all that hurt and pain with us, and we're trying to figure out why Billy Bob is treating us disrespectful. It's because we're not a whole full person. We're still dealing with that evil in our heart, and instead of healing that and then having God bless us with whoever He's supposed to bless us with, you're letting that evil heart get to the next person. Which is bad for both of y'all, because now Billy Bob is going to take that to Sally Mae. Sally Mae going to take that over to Jenny. Jenny going to, and it becomes a whole infestation. We have to stop being selfish. We have to grow in our empathy. And I know y'all are saying like, girl, you're saying empathy a lot. Let me break empathy down for you. Empathy. This is what Google say: the ability to understand and share the feelings of one another. I know that insecurity is a hard thing to fight. It's such a hard thing to fight. But hear me when I just say that, like, you have to allow yourself to heal before you can go searching for the next person. Let me tell y'all something. This is about to hit y'all. Searching is selfish. Searching is selfish. And I say that in a sense of like, you why are you going out to look for somebody that can help? Like scratching for people that can help you. God's gonna help you. God's gonna send people your way when you're ready. But you're not patient enough. You're getting selfish. You're getting greedy because you want what you want out of these people. Whether that's, the good cooch, or whether that's money, or whether that's, connections, or whether that's just somebody to be in your presence. When God has been in your presence the whole time, God is literally sitting on your corner of your bed. Mm-hmm. But that selfishness and that greed and that pride has taken over you. Now, I know everybody's like, okay, you need to back up a little bit. I'll back up. I'll tell you something about me that happened to me. And then I'm going to let everybody else speak. I know I've been rambling. But here, let me tell you something that happened to me. So I had a boyfriend or whatever. His name was David. I dated David like in high school, whatever. And thinking about it has me shaking. And I was selfish. I was selfish with David. I only wanted to be with David because he was good for me. He was good for my soul. But I wasn't really giving anything back to David. And during my homecoming night, he broke up with me.
I'm sorry.
No, it's so bad. I was hurt. I said, oh my God. I was crying. I said, oh. I was so hurt, y'all. I was like, like still at homecoming trying to have fun, not trying to even think about it, whatever. And you know what I did with that broken heart? Because that happened to me senior year. I took that broken heart and I went to college. And the first thing I did when I got to college, I started scratching and scraping, looking for people. I was like, I don't need David. David was goofy anyway. Go, 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 go. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff. I started scratching and scraping for people. Trying to make connections with people that weren't even real. Because when I look at it, when I take a step back, it's like the people that I ended up trying to be with, I didn't even know them. Like I know them now.
Wow.
I didn't know them then. I only knew what I thought I knew, what I wanted to see, what I wanted to believe. That's what I knew.
Wow.
And you know what that did to me? That kind of gave me the spirit of pride, where it's like everything that they try to tell me, every time somebody was like, I feel like you two this, I feel like you two that. I was like, you're just a hater. You're like, you don't know me. You don't da-da-da-da-da. And it was that consistent pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing away that kind of deteriorated my healing. Like I couldn't even heal, even when God was trying to speak to people to get me to heal, trying to identify that spirit of pride, that spirit of selfishness. He was trying to get me to heal, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do it because I was hurt and I didn't let myself heal. And that carried on up until maybe 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago is when I feel like I truly healed. But do you see the time that took from senior year to I'm about to be a rising junior now? That's what, like a good 3 years? Senior, freshman, sophomore. Yeah. There
3 years.
There was 3 years that it took for me to realize that. And luckily, I had God to heal me. But the thing with America is they don't want to allow God to heal them because that pride, that selfishness, that greed. So our trauma and this racism seed that has grown out of this lack of empathy is like, it's gone on for so long, centuries, decades, like so long. And God's just really been like, we can end this tomorrow, but y'all are too prideful and too selfish. And we have a leader that's too prideful, too selfish, and too greedy, and doesn't want to help people, wants to only be the president for his own selfish gains. That we can't even get to where we're supposed to be. Y'all, I promise y'all, if we had empathy, none of the things that are happening will be happening. Everybody will understand where we are coming from, and we can all heal as a unit. But we can't do that because of what? A lack of empathy. I am now done talking. I'll give it to the congregation. If anybody wants to say a word,
weak.
feel free.
She said congregation.
Wow.
And that's what God told me to say.
Wow.
I'm so weak.
I'm like appalled because you made yourself a home in my home. Like you definitely just you brought a suitcase, you unpacked, you moved into my room and you're in my house. Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of don't even know what to say because I'm still kind of reeling from everything that you have said, but I'll try to put it into put it into words, I guess. The idea of what you said was like scratching at the surface or like scratching for people. That is so resonant, and I feel like with our generation, I'll speak for myself specifically, we don't know how to heal. We don't know. We don't do healing. We try to go to the next person. We try to go to the next person. We try to go to the next thing. We try to find that next like high, that next thing that keeps us up there when we need a moment. And I think this is why quarantine happened for me when it happened, because I was exactly what you described. I was looking for the next high. And I'm not talking about drugs. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about what was going to keep me happy. What was going to keep me, pleased. What was going to make me want to wake up every morning. And I was looking for that in the wrong things and the wrong people, and scratching at what was not good for me. And I kept, it's like having a face full of acne and putting on makeup every day to look good, but your skin is never healing. The inner layer is never healing. And to get that healing, you're absolutely right. To get that idea of empathy, it's God. We have to connect to God. We have to stop looking for the answers in things that are temporary. God's forever. People are temporary. And that's something that it takes a while for people to learn, but it's a learned thing. People learn it, and they don't take it when it's first offered to them. So that's how I feel about that. I rambled too, but you were in my house.
Well, I appreciate that. You know what else? Something else. God just told me to read something else, y'all, real quick. This one is gonna be from the New Revised Standard Version because that's just me. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get back to my roots real quick. He told me to read James 3:16 from the New Revised Standard Version, which says, "For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there will also be disorder and wickedness of every kind."
Wow.
And I just need that to sit with y'all. I just need that to sit with y'all. Like, we're so selfish, but we do not realize. We sincerely do not realize that spirit that has infested us. Now you're sitting here in this relationship wondering why y'all fighting every day. It's because you don't have any empathy. You're not trying to hear and understand what your partner is trying to say because you're so selfish and you're so busy and so focused on getting what you want to get. And we're so quick to say like, well, I heard them, but I heard them. It's just, I heard them. It's instead, it's just like you're saying all these glottals. Stop it. Like we cannot get to a place where everyone is on the same page if you're only thinking about what you want, right? And we also can't get to a place of peace if we don't know what we're dealing with. In certain relationships, you think, like, I thought the reason that he didn't want to be with me, David didn't want to be with me, he broke up with me on homecoming night. Oh, how rude. But I was like, they didn't wait till the day before, the day after, something, whatever. But I thought the reason he didn't want to be with me was because, well, I'm not going to unpack my whole relationship on y'all, but he thought I was cheating on him with my best friend, which I wasn't. My best friend was gay, but he wasn't out of the closet at that point. So it wasn't something that I could tell David. So every time I was just like, I can't tell you, you don't understand. You just have to believe me. I'm not cheating on you. But what I didn't realize is he was trying to take that selfishness and the fact that, like, I was only really in that relationship for, like, the clout, for the comfort, for the low-key, the money, because, he wasn't rich, but he had a little bit in his pocket. And, for all the other things that come with the relationship. I was only in it for what culture told me a relationship was about. And, he couldn't pinpoint it at the time because, it's something that's so deep inside us. It's like you can't really even see it. But he was trying to be like, yo, like, there's this thing that's in you that, like, I didn't see when I first met you, but, like, it's like a seed that's turning into something so ugly. And I was like, you trying to call me ugly? Oh, but, like, but it wasn't that. It was the simple fact of, like, I just wanted so much of what culture was telling me that I should have that I wasn't even, like, a full grown person. Like, I didn't even have all the traits that God wanted me to have before becoming, a whole human. When God's going to give it to you when he knows you need it, when he knows it's time. You can't keep expecting for somebody to come knocking at your door if you don't have all the quality and traits that you need to take care of that person, for that person to take care of you. I need you to think about this. For the people that are in relationships are thinking that, it's time for you to have a relationship. What are you going to do to bless the person that comes into your life? Instead of thinking, what can I get? What can I get? I've been sitting in my bed by myself for too long. I've been the one crying at night. I've been the one that had to deal with the heartbreak. The person that was the person that was with me before, was doing all this to me. The person that, this person hurt me, so I don't deserve this from nobody. I'm better than anybody. I can do whatever I want all by myself. Do you see that insecurity building with the language? Wow. Do you see the pride growing with the language? The greed growing with the language? You're literally building a bulletproof vest over yourself. That way, when people try to shoot you with knowledge and shoot you with the spirit, that bulletproof vest is blocking you from what the blessings that you need in your life. So everything that is good for you, you're deflecting it because of that anger. You're not letting yourself heal. You're not letting God heal you. But I think it's because we don't know. But hey, that's why God told me to tell y'all. So
that's true.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just something I want to share. It's not only in relationships. I'm just using relationships so I think y'all can connect to it and get a deeper understanding of it.
Right.
It's also really the main reason why we're dealing with racism today is because the people that are against us have a broken heart. They were never given the chance to be who they wanted to be. So they took that pride and that selfishness and that greed and they brought it over to this land that's not ours. And that seed, the devil took advantage of that. And that seed grew so much where they started doing the scratching. They started picking up people from different countries to do their work. Because I've been hurt too much, so I'm not getting down and dirty no more. It's not finna be me. It's finna be everybody else, but it's not finna be me. And that just manifested. The devil just took advantage of that. And that just manifested into what we see today. Black people getting shot every day, getting killed every day. And it's really because we can't identify what it is. It's a lack of empathy. It's that pride, that greed, and that selfishness that we need to disassemble. And I think now that God has told me these things to tell to y'all, now that we have the specifics, now that it's not about the color of my skin, because, that's just how they identify us. That's the reason, that's just how we can look different. What it really is that hurt within themselves. And now that we can identify that, I think it's going to be easy to tackle. And I think there's a new perspective and a new way to come about it. We're not coming about it in a sense of like, how do you not comprehend this? We're coming in a sense of, you've been heartbroken and your insecurities have gone on for centuries and centuries and centuries. And these people have been taught generation and generation and generation to have pride and to stand tall because we've been hurt before and we've had to move away before because we've been bullied. And it's kind of like, okay, I can finally see that. I can finally see your pain. However, it still doesn't give you an excuse to treat people like that. We just have to let y'all heal. And once you heal, we can heal. And once we heal, they can heal. And once they can heal, we can all, the empathy will then be allowed to move through the rivers of this country. But that's all I gotta say.
I think also, like, just I love everything that you said, and thank you for sharing that. It's very important to look at it in that way because God just looks at the heart and understanding what is behind that, right? And so if we think about, like when we're talking about empathy, it also is, a lack of empathy that makes you feel as though your skin color is better than mine. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we really get into it, like when we talk whiteness and we talk about this delusion of whiteness and this idea that because I'm fairer in complexion and I have less melanin, imagine, melanin protects you from the sun and actually should be seen as gold because the fact that you are being protected from the sun by birth, that is mad dope. And just see how it is. And so to really just see how melanin is seen as just the amount of melanin on someone's skin, right, is seen as different and weird. And why, right? And like you said, it's because of their insecurity, because of their selfishness, and not that it's only in white people. It's not just in people that are white or a fair complexion. And I mean, and then we can also go into colorism and just talk about how colorism stems from whiteness and how colorism is a byproduct of the delusion of whiteness. And white supremacy comes from the delusion of whiteness. So what is this whiteness, right? And like you shared, whiteness is really I should say the delusion of whiteness. And what I mean by the delusion of whiteness is this idea that your whiteness is your savior. And so now you make Jesus to look white. And now you make everybody in the Bible to look white, to make you feel better because you feel insecure about your whiteness. But the enemy has now made you feel insecure about yourself, even before the Europeans came over to America. And I love that you said that, just like how there was it wasn't about race before, it was about, nation and culture and, and what people believed, right? Those are nothing new. Those divides have been there. But now, because of their insecurity with their complexion, they now, like you said, built on all these ideas of that are selfish and prideful, that now they are convinced that they are the superior race. I mean, people literally came to Africa, the continent of Africa, went to multiple countries and took notes and was like, these people look like monkeys. And then we ran with it. Okay, yeah, they're monkeys. Okay, they're monkeys, so that means we can use them for. And so they've convinced themselves, they've changed the size of the map, they've, they've done a whole bunch of just really just, like it says in the Bible, wicked and disgusting things, all from a lack of empathy, like you said, which is so interesting. But I also think it's really important to like even just talk about like the spirit behind it, because it's all spirits, it's all spiritual. Like you said, it's not about racism. Racism is just what they use to identify it. It's not about racism. It's a spirit. And so what you said about just, what was it? You were like, when you really go to the root, you see that it's selfishness. You see that it's pride. You see that it's a broken heart. You see that it's anger. There's hatred. There's a whole bunch of things, right? And so then it becomes less of, this is going to sound very like juvenile, I should say. But some people do still think like this, like, only white people can be racist. And it's like, anti-Blackness, right? Anti-Blackness is a thing. And you don't have to be white to be anti-Black. And you can be Black and be anti-Black. Like, it is possible. Especially if because I'm Nigerian American, and especially if you are, if you have parents, you are from, where you were born and raised in Africa, and you come here in America because of the images that they show in media for example, for Americans, right? Now African Americans look different than Africans that are from the soil. And so now there's this divide between that. And so now you got African born people thinking that they better than, or you got Dominican people that are darker than me saying that they're not Black, all these things, all these goofy things. Right. But like you said, because those things exist, there's no way it's just about color. It is not just about color. It is not just about color. It is a spirit. And it is a spirit that has been following people for centuries. It's nothing new. And so I really appreciate you bringing that to light. And I think, one more thing, and then I'm going to shut up. But I think also just like something that you ended off with, just like how, if we all have empathy, it's when the, relationship analogy, which I love, is that like, okay, you cannot try and be in a relationship with someone, whether it's intimate or just platonic. You cannot be in a relationship with someone if you are doing it for your gain.
Yeah.
And I think, right. And I think a lot of people listening are probably like, this is goofy. I'm turning this off. Look, like, it's just like, because I don't think that makes sense to a lot of people. And like you said it so clearly, like, how can you want to be what it's like me being friends with Jessica, right? For example. And I only want to be friends with her because she makes me giggle. And so now I'm not making Jessica giggle because I'm too focused on the fact that Jessica has to make me giggle. And then Jessica's not going to be giggling. I'm the only one giggling. How is that a friendship? So it's just kind of like, so it's the same thing.
Right.
But then what I'm trying to say is also just understanding that there's no way for us to have empathy and no way to be a blessing in someone's life if we don't know where the root of all that comes from. It doesn't come from us as human beings. We were born with sin into sin. So we were born with these generational things, that iniquities are the sins that you haven't even done. They're just like inside you. They're your thoughts. They're those thoughts you think of at 3 a.m. You're not doing anything, but they're thoughts, for example. And so things get passed down. Those are not, I shouldn't be laughing because that's so serious. But like those things get passed down, right? And so they get passed down and they're generational. And so when we're born into sin, we're born with different sins and they manifest in a myriad of ways. And so because we're born like that, we're born with, spirit of selfishness, spirit of pride, even if it's minuscule. Some people, it manifests as it's really huge. Some people, it's tiny like a pea, but it's still there, right? And so understanding that there's no way for me to bless you or be a blessing in your life or add to you in a relationship, for example, to put it on plain terms, if I don't have a relationship with God, I'm sorry, I just have to be frank. Okay. But
she said, I just have to be frank.
No, I just have to be frank. It's impossible for you to understand how to be a blessing in someone's life, how to have empathy for someone when you do not know the creator of empathy, when you do not know or have a relationship with someone who actually just embodies that. Who is that? That is Jesus.
Oh, no.
Okay, that is our God. God is the only one who can teach us what true empathy is. So the only way for you to understand how to be a blessing in someone's life, how to really have empathy for someone, for people, to see past what we're told to see and really see in their hearts, and also understand, what's going on with you, is to have a relationship with Jesus. Like, I just want to be frank. There's no way for you to be able to understand how to love someone and be empathetic to someone if you do not know the creator of that, one who is that, right? And we read in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 in the first two episodes of this podcast, where it was describing the characteristics of love. And it's so goofy because none of those characteristics have anything to do with intimacy. A lot of times we mix up intimacy with love. Just because you're intimate with someone doesn't mean you love them.
She in your house. She in your house.
Everyone's house. Oh, if you're confused, I am so sorry. Let me just explain. The reason why it is possible for someone to be intimate with another person, right, and still be hurt, is because intimacy does not equate to love. You are intimate with someone as a byproduct of infatuation, and infatuation is not bad, but you being more intimate with someone does not mean that you're more empathetic. Because at the end of the day, why are we intimate? This is also wrong, but we're intimate most times because we naturally are, like Jessica said, selfish, and we are lonely, and we are cold, and we are chilly, and we want to snuggle with somebody. And it's what is that season called?
Cuddle
season.
Oh,
It's all of that.
I know what you're talking about.
Bring it up.
It's what is it? It's
Cuffing
called
season.
Cuffing season in the winter. Why is it in the winter? Because people get cold, chilly, and lonely.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So there's no way for you to have empathy if you don't, like Jessica was saying, really just spend time with God. Get to know God. Get to know who he is and who he's called you to be. How are you going to be a blessing in somebody's life when you don't even know what purpose why you're here on the earth? You don't even know why you're here on the earth. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't know what issues. You haven't allowed God to heal your heart because you're running away from God, or you don't want to deal with that, or you think it's old fashioned, or somebody in that is in the church may have hurt you, right? And so you're running away from the creator of someone who can actually, the creator, someone who can actually help you heal your heart. He's the only person that can heal all this brokenness and the people that are being racist and the people that are being, I mean, we can go on, but he's the only one that can heal our heart. And so before you even start trying to be like, okay, Jessica said I have to be empathetic. Okay, now you're running to be empathetic. No. Slow down. The only way for you to be empathetic is if you allow yourself to be open and vulnerable to the one who created you. Let him heal you. Yeah. And that's what I just wanted to add on to that, because I love that.
God is telling me to say something.
Go ahead.
It just hit me. God told me to tell y'all, don't hit me. This is what he told me to tell y'all. That even if, for the people that are listening, even if you do not believe in him, he just told me this. If you do not believe in him, literally, like tonight or a time where you are at peace and you're by yourself or whatever, literally just say God and literally just tell him what's been on your heart, what's been hurting you. I don't know if I'm speaking to somebody specifically or whether I'm just speaking out. You don't even have to be Christian. You won't even have to ever set foot in a church. Literally, all you say is God. I feel like, right? And then say, in the name of Jesus, help me. Amen. Boom. And that's all he told me to tell y'all. I don't know what is going to come after that. But he's telling me that something is on somebody's heart heavy, but they feel like they haven't been able to say something because they aren't Christian. Or they feel like somebody in the community has done them wrong. Can I say something? Look, God doesn't care about the things you did wrong. Right? He cares about your heart. He cares about how you've been hurting. Because he knows that, he didn't cause you to do those wrong things. That's what culture and that's what the world is. The world, like God cannot God cannot God doesn't send, like Nicole has told me years and years and years. God doesn't send like evil spirits. They come to you. All God can do is kind of help you through those evil spirits, through those things that you're going through the person who has been doing you wrong, through the person that's been saying stuff about you, through all of these things. He can only help you. He's not going to block you from it. Demons are going to come left and right.
No, he can block you from it. He can block you from it, sis. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I have to say it. I'm sorry.
Oh, my fault. Because or at least what I thought was that God's gonna, well, not God, but like the devil's gonna send things like all the time, and it's like, we just have to continue to trudge through it. So instead of indulging in those things that are sent to us by the devil, we just have to continue to keep our eye focused on the things that God is intending for us, the things that are purpose for us. So
and through that, you're blocked.
Okay.
No, it's good. Yeah.
But that's pretty much the tea. That's pretty much the tea. That's what just God told me to tell y'all. That like a lot of y'all are feeling like, oh, you're not a part of the Christian community really. And you know what? Like, I'm not gonna force you to. I'm not gonna push because that's not my job. But I am gonna say that it only takes one conversation. I don't care. I don't care if you're part of the LGBTQ community, or I don't care if you were raised atheist, or like, I could care less. All I say is that it takes a conversation. If you're not willing to have the conversation, well, you're finna hit me. But I guess you're not willing to be healed. Just at least having the conversation. Just have the conversation. I'm not asking you to, pour the water over your spirit and be a nun and you just forget it. Right. Because look, I'm not that. How am I going to tell you something when I'm not doing the same thing? Right. All I can say is that, if you're willing to have a conversation, maybe that could just guide you into a place of healing. Maybe. Not for sure about that, but I just say, try the conversation. Just try it. You know what? And if it didn't work out, you can hit me. You can rag on me all you want to. But that's what God just told me to tell y'all.
I love that he told you to say that. All you need to do is really just understand that because he is the one true God, he literally hears you.
Yeah.
Like, he hears you all the
Yeah.
time. And so if you call out to him, he will answer. He will literally respond. That was so good. He
It's
will
so
respond.
true.
That's what's going to happen. He will respond. I'm excited for anyone who does do that and just says, Lord, if you're real, I don't know if you're real, even if it's as that, he'll show himself to you.
He will.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. It's very true. Especially, my pastor taught me this a long, long time ago. We're now living in what is known as like a voice activated society, right? So you think about how we connect with our phones, how we connect with people. You know, we can talk to our like Google Home things and turn it on, like, hey Google, hey Siri, hey this, hey that. Voice activated society. There's no difference between doing that and talking to God. Hey God, boom, he hears you. Just like Google hears you when you say, hey Google, Siri hears you when you say, hey Siri. It's a voice activated society, and that's the time that we're living in now. So I think now more than ever is the perfect time to have that conversation, to start having those conversations with God. And you should do it out loud. You should. It really makes all the, to me, in my opinion, you do what you want, right? This is the podcast to share what we believe. You don't got to believe it if you don't want to, but in my personal opinion, speaking out, it makes all the difference. Saying it out loud makes all the difference.
I was taking so many notes because I needed that.
Yeah, for sure.
I needed that because it's so easy to just pick a person. And I've been having some tough conversations with some family friends, and it's been so easy to, like, I catch myself getting upset with the people, and it's not the people that I need to be upset with. It's the spirit operating, and I needed to be reminded that those things are coming from a lack of empathy, and that's gonna, knowing that, right, and knowing that it comes from insecurity and pride and selfishness is just only going to better help me when I'm addressing those people, and speak to them from a place of love, and not allow the words that they're saying to then hurt me, which then leads to just adding more gas to the fire. So thank you for all of that.
I think also understanding that you have the answers to, literally, when people say, what's that question people ask? What is the reason for life? Or what is the
meaning of life?
The philosophy thing, right? What is that? You have that. You have that. You have the book that literally gives you that answer, the Holy Bible. You literally have that. You have Jesus as your savior, right? You believe in him, right? And so if you believe in him like you say you do, when someone is broken, when someone is hurting, when you see someone that is doing something that is contrary to the will of God, it's beyond saying like, oh, this person is doing X. Tough to be them. No, you have the answers. So we are called as Christians to really be a light in their life and also be real with them, because what we were talking about is when someone is hurting, we as Christians should not just say, oh, I'm sorry that you're hurting. And you're probably like, what? Then what are you supposed to say? You have the answer. So saying sorry to someone that they're hurting doesn't help them. When you're hurting, what do? You pray, right? So why would you ever think it's okay to not pray for someone that just told you they're hurting? It's like you're holding back the secret sauce and they're saying, please, what's the recipe? And you're like, I don't know. But the secret sauce is literally inside of you, right? Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
No, that was crazy what she just said. So I hope y'all heard that. Because I'm like, oh, how many times have you been in a conversation and somebody like, man, this person just treated me wrong. And you just like, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
They OG.
Anyway.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to scream into the mic. No, but yeah, like I think just recognizing that that's why it's important we read our Bible. Everything in the Bible that God says is true. Nothing that's going on right now, newsflash, is new. Nothing is new. And they can tell you, oh, this is new. Oh, well,
Right.
that didn't happen in the Bible, so why is it wrong? No, every single thing that goes on right now already happened. These spirits are corny. They literally just manifest in the same ways over and over again. The devil is a copycat.
Yeah.
He's not smart. Do not give him all that power. He doesn't have power, right? He's just sneaky. And he knows that humans are not... We do not walk in the intelligence that God calls us to walk in. So we act goofy and we don't recognize, wait a minute, my great-great-great-great-grandfather had a problem with racism. Maybe I should check that. Maybe I should really evaluate, okay, maybe this is a generational thing, or I'm noticing my dad is pretty selfish. Maybe that's why I'm so, just like thinking about it like in a more broad term. And also just understanding that, like, yes, if you see someone hurting, you really have to be real with them and speak with them and understand as Christians, for my Christians, understand that, look, you're hurting. This is what the Bible says, right? Giving them answers. Don't allow the people that are hurting around you or are in lifestyles, because let's be real. A lot of people that are hurting, they don't know they're hurting. And that's what we were talking about, is that people are literally in chains, in bondage, burning, and they're just walking as if they're not because of that delusion. So, yeah.
Call 1-800. I need a prayer.
Period.
Screaming.
Speed dial.
Don't come for real, because I don't know who's going to pick up, but I don't know. Somebody told me that if you ever need to call God, all you got to do is close your eyes and say, God. And he'll pick up the phone. He'll be like, hello. That's how God answers to me. Hello.
Period.
But that's really wow. I'm really appreciative of God speaking to me and having a chance to share this message, because not even about a year ago, I could not even detect God's voice. And Nicole can definitely speak on that. When I was in the car with her, and we were going to see Mariah in the car. And I was like, I can't.
Mariah and Gabrielle.
Oh, Mariah again! Oh my God. But I didn't know. I'm sorry. I did not know Gabrielle at the time. I did not know Gabrielle.
You're good.
But I do remember when I heard Gabrielle, I was like, she was saying hi.
Right.
LOL.
She's like, oh, this woman. Okay, no, stop. But I just remember being in the car and being like, wow, like, why can't I hear God? But little did I know. I just had to be patient. I just had to take that time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you never know. Like, and God was speaking to me the whole time. I just couldn't hear. So yeah, just maybe take the time to listen, be patient. He's gonna speak to you when the time is right, when the moon is out, or whatever. I don't know. Whenever the time is, he'll speak to you, and then it really just worked itself out. Because I know I was so stressed. I was like, everybody's hearing God and all these blessings happen to everybody but me. Take the time, breathe, look in your heart, see what's going on, and then he'll kind of guide you from there, and it'll be great. But anyways, yeah, pray, have your sense of empathy. Speak to your family members about where do you think their empathy is, or if they have any at all. Let God let the spirit of empathy grow, because that is what this world needs.
Thank you so much for plugging into today's episode. I know that word was right on time for me, so thank you, Jessica, for sharing your heart with us today. We'll be right back here plugging in with you next Wednesday at the same time, 12 p.m. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Plug In Light. Subscribe to our YouTube channel
at Plug in Light. And if you have any questions, prayer requests, testimonies, or topics you want us to talk about, email us at pluginlight@gmail.com. Also, feel free to leave a review and share this episode with someone if it fed your soul and brought light to your day. Thank you all so much. See you next week.